Hey, hi, happy hump day to you and everyone else who's here. It's interesting. You retracted the message, but it's still on the screen because it's kind of weird. It's just a bug, but that's okay. I get what you mean and what you're trying to do there. Hey, welcome to today's. It's that first stream of July. My goodness, because it's July 1st, so it's got to be the first stream of July. I'm thinking. First of many streams in July, I'm thinking. I'm not really planning on doing any traveling for a few months till November. We don't even get a holiday for this one. We got Juneteenth, but we don't get July, 3rd or anything off. Friday's a regular work day. Secret. So I'm going to go into the office on Friday, but just working there for the morning. And then I'll come back, which is the thing I always do. Plug my computer in, get it, plugged in, and the email clients ready to go all Friday. But I'm streaming, I'll do a stream. That'll be the next stream because today's Wednesday. All right, let's talk about today's stream. First of all, what is the drink that's going to be relaxing me for today and putting me in the right mood for a little flying around, you know what I mean? That is Diet Coca-Cola. Wow. I really like it. I should have one of these every day. And using the beautiful blue Bluetooth controller is going to be how the flying shall commence. I mean, how it operates. And I always say people come in who are kind of novices to Flight Simulator and, haven't seen the stream, just randomly come in and like, well, that looks kind of fun, and it is. And I always, there's a learning curve. Most people will spend a few hours in it basically just not knowing what they're doing and having a plane just fall out of the sky at random times from their point of view. There's a lot of training, but the training only takes you so far, and then the rest of it is experience and being willing to try things over and over again and just keep figuring things out. And then, of course, like anything, you want to keep your skills up. You got to fly all the time. Anyway, by the way, there's a new sim update, 5.1 or whatever. So it seems like a minor update. I looked through the release notes, didn't say too much except bugs and fixes. I flew around it a bit yesterday to make sure at least would fly around off stream. Yesterday wasn't a streaming day, but it wasn't. It was still a flying day. Seemed to be fine. It didn't seem to fix or create any bugs, but it didn't fix the bug where I often don't see points of interest until I'll see them at the beginning. They'll disappear, and then I'll see them right at the end as I'm about to land, which doesn't seem coincidental. And that's even when I'm not streaming. It has nothing to do with me streaming. It's something to do with my something. But I can't believe I'm the only one in the universe that has this issue with Flight Simulator. And even though I'm certainly aware there's plenty of people who don't have the issue. I don't know what they haven't, that's not in common with me. We could probably figure that out. But I don't care. It's not that big a deal. I actually don't mind not having the pins because they're not in the real world, and I'm usually flying low enough that I can easily navigate by what's on the ground. And it's more challenging and interesting to do that anyway. All right, talking about Flight Simulator, flying around, don't know where to go, don't blah blah blah. Then there's going to be the big brain games. That's where we fire up my browser. We go to the New York Times site. We do the Britannica site. We go to the Merriam-Webster site. We do the Quirtle. We do the reunion. There's the tightrope trivia. There's the revealed. And not quite in order. We do the loop, which is kind of fun these days. Also the New York Times connections. And finally, for some strange reason, I wrap it up with the Octortle. And that's the big brain games. Usually takes, 15, 20 minutes. But that's some of those I don't know. It's just something I do every day. So we're going to do that on stream anyway. I did them yesterday. By the way, yesterday's connections kicked my ass. I did not solve it. And it was a really hard one. I'm really glad I was not streaming it. Other people might have been able to see it like that. But for whatever reason, I was having a lot of problems. And I did not get it in the correct order. So we effectively broke my fairly long connection streak yesterday. Which is fine. I don't care. I'm good for them for doing a hard one. I don't like it when they're too easy. You know what I mean? I think connections can be too easy sometimes. And then there'll be a short break. Today it looks like it's Ken's Piano Lounge. I'm going to take my piano and take the time to take my piano and slap it down right here, the stand, the slam. I got to plug it in, got to change microphones, a lot of stuff, but I kind of have it compressed into 3 minutes for my little mid-roll mostly. Move my cameras around, and then resurrect Ken's Piano Lounge yet again. And I'm not going to stop doing Ken's Piano Lounge ever because it took me a lot of effort and time to memorize these songs. And if you don't play them on the regular, you'll forget it, and that'll be a huge waste of time and effort. Besides, I just like it. And I was listening to another musician on Twitch, a good musician who's a professional, Tom Anello, who plays guitar, and he was saying, he has a 3-hour thing. He does it Monday, Wednesday, Friday. 3 hours, and it's him playing songs solo. He doesn't sing or anything. He doesn't have an accompaniment. So that's, which is quite an accomplishment, but he does the same thing every time. And he says, yeah, basically, look, I've memorized these songs, but if I don't play them on a regular, they're going to kind of go downhill, or I'll start making a lot of mistakes, blah, blah, blah. So yeah, playing them regular. If you're going to bother to learn these beautiful songs, you got to learn, remember, you're going to be playing them a lot. But again, I have a list of songs on a piece of paper, you know, and that's how it works. I'm pretty sure most of the time I can kind of go into autopilot on the music these days. But again, yeah, I always am like, oh, I made a mistake, or I forgot where the C section goes on that song, and whatever. There's a lot of little things you can mess up, and then, you know, it's fine. It's still a musical segment, and that'll be today's show. It'll be like roughly 2 hours of doing things. All right, we're already out of the time when I should not be in the intro section anymore, but in the actual flying around segment. I don't like to start right away in the air. You know what I mean? I like to give people a chance maybe to show up. Or not, you know what I mean? If they want to come and see the original, like, I don't know, like the startup. Sometimes the startup is pretty cool. If it's a complicated one, or one of the jets, the old jets that have to be started manually, some of these are not too bad. This Spitfire is really rough and tricky to start up. It's kind of rewarding, and so is the P-38 Lightning. And there's some of these big planes here. Of course, I never even bothered to try to start the Concorde. This one, the Liberator, is kind of a challenge for sure. We'll just kind of go and fly around. Let's fly around the Islander. We're gonna do a little cargo run in the Islander. It's a moderately fun startup scenario. We're gonna do that. See if we can find. And we have a million. Blue Island, tropic air. You know what I mean? It's all very evocative. Tropic air. Maybe we'll do an island flight, an Islander flight, because I do like to do those. And they are beautiful. It's a pretty time of year, you know. We could do something up in this area, because there's a couple of different airports we could start at, the Grand Bahamas, and there's quite a few little airports here, right? That one's pretty long. That's pretty long too. So we could definitely do a flight. How long is this one? Well, that's an international. What's way out here? There's a bunch of airports. This is a fairly long area. So maybe we'll just fly up this from West End to Deepwater Cay or something like that. Yeah, because we'll do that. All right, so departure. Just fly over this relatively small part of the Grand Bahamas. But we'll be cold starting it. Hey, how you doing? Good to see you. I'm glad you're back. I'm basically just doing the same old crap. And by the way, I always like to say at this point in time, if somebody's coming into chat, dropping in, it's like, I wonder if Ken would fly over my city or my house, or, you know, it happens all the time. All you have to do, or a place that I'm going to be visiting next week, you know, that kind of stuff. I'm flying places, basically random places, and that's how it is. Hey, Science, great to see you. Look at this. I like this plane. It's got a very practical, you know, a purposeful build to it. You know, like it's made for a purpose. It's not made just to be beautiful or something. But it's got some interesting features. Like, you can kind of see how it looks like these legs in the back, and some versions could fold back, like, so it could hold the wing for aerodynamics. And maybe there were some designs, but these don't. And also there's some versions I think that retract the front gear, and these don't. But that's fine. I mean, it's for short hauls, low altitudes, island flying. You got the game. Oh, that's right. You were talking about getting the game for your PS5, I think. All right. Let's get this. I'm going to put this away so we can kind of see it. All right. So the first thing we're going to do is fire up the battery, external power. I'll turn the generators on now, although I don't think you do. Okay. I'm going to work these. Okay. So throttle is there. That's the propeller, and this is the mixture. So I got those on my map to my little throttle body here. But before we do anything, we got to remove the just all these, the pitot tube cover, the engine covers, and the boarding steps. That's before. Okay, so now we've got the covers removed from the engines. Very nice. All right, we're not going to turn on the electronics until the engines get started, but okay, it looks like the propellers are clear. All right, so to start the engine, wait a minute, I want to make sure, is there a fuel? Am I forgetting the fuel? No, yeah, I am, but I now remember there we go. So both of these are going to face forward, which is just kind of intuitive. All right, so the starter, remove the starter guard. For this plane, what you want to do is start it and then put the magnetos on. You can kind of hear it starting up. And then you slam the magnetos on. And if we did everything right, you should get some warm up out of the left engine there. All right, starting right engine, clear, prop clear. All right, so we're gonna do the same thing. Push the right here, start there, let it spin around a few times, and then slam your mags on. Make sure that engine's starting to spin up there. The smoke coming out of the back. It's got a loud sound effect too. You're flying with your local airport FIFE Cyprus and Cessna 152. Oh, to FIFE to Cyprus. Okay, it's fun to do. Yeah, it's fun to do kind of like some of those hauls. But, you know, eventually sightseeing's where we're at. All right, so we'll be flying. All right, let's see. Oh, yeah, master avionics. Good. Let's see. Nav lights. What are these? We're probably not going to need any icing. Ice screen or winds. We should try to. I've never tried to really operate this plane in cold weather because I was like, probably not much fun. But it apparently has de-icing. I rarely fly it. The ice is a real thing. Turn that to on. Okay, we're gonna enter. Wait for this to boot up here a little bit. Here we go. It's about to boot up. Meanwhile, we're watching the engines. Okay, we should see a map as soon as that figures out where we are exactly. All right, let's fly around a bit. Just a beautiful little. Yeah, it's interesting where when you first get into it, you're just like, you can lose hours, and it's like, what are you even doing? You know what I mean? But it's like an entree to a whole world of stuff, you know. All right, so we're gonna be taxiing somewhere. Hello, Stream Boo. Good to see you. It's a bot. Comes here all the time. All right, so let's see. Oh yeah, we gotta reduce this power a bit here. Parking brake off. Yep, we got steering. I assume we're gonna go this way, but I'm not 100% sure. I might want to take off the other way. But in any case, yeah, that's the only way to get onto the runway. It's a pretty small runway, but there's a huge. We're gonna be flying over a huge airport, one of the bigger airports. Perfect. All right, so everyone prepare for takeoff. This is a cargo run, so we're not passengers like TL at. You know, technically, it's more of a sightseeing run. All right, and now it's takeoff, depart straight out as far as they're concerned. All right, flaps to the mid position. Flaps are coming down to the back. That's for takeoff. Actually, you know what? If I remember on long straight runways, you don't put flaps down. Flaps are really for landing, and it's just because of the kind of the architecture of this plane. It just doesn't need them, and it takes off really fast even with the flaps up. All right, we don't need this. All right, we're ready to go for a little flying. Got plenty of fuel. All right, we're advancing. Prop and the throttle. Generate full power. Takeoff power achieved. There we go. Takeoff power. As you see, basically it goes boom. Approach to Rotterdam. Oh, I fly Rotterdam like it's probably one of my most single common places I've ever flown. Pops right off the runway. Oh, wait a minute. I thought maybe it automatically put the flaps down. I don't think it did. In any case, we're off. Okay, so what we want to do is fly east. Basically, there's quite a bit of ocean that way. Eventually, you hit the U.S. and fly west. But we're going to fly east over this area here. Looks like we have points of view here. So this is effectively the west end of Grand Bermuda or whatever. Grand Bahama, excuse me. Grand Bahamas. But the Bahamas is a large chain of islands. All right, let's reduce power here a little bit. Little top trim to keep that nose nice and low. I don't want to get too high up. All right, so again, the west end is, I don't think there's much here. Obviously there isn't. There's a little town, there's an airport. But it looks like there's another little community, maybe, no, kinda. But as you see ahead, there are definitely, you know, tourist resort sides of this island. You know, it's not far from the East Coast to get to these islands. It's not like there's a long. Yeah, this is the Grand Bahama Island. I like to fly the Islander here. You can kind of see if I show you where we are, flight planner. Grand Bahama is this kind of has this I mean, it's big. We're just gonna fly down and just see part of it. That's one of the biggest islands in the Caribbean. It's just east of basically just east of Miami, or it's a little northeast of Miami, but not really that far. Like if you were in Florida, it's right there. It's one of the closer islands to the American, you know, of the Caribbean islands, as opposed to like the Virgin Islands or the Leeward Islands or the Southern Islands. But it looks like a lovely day today. I have live weather and live time of day turned on in order to enjoy, presumably, the realistic thing. Now, I've been to these places and they're very humid all year round. And there's, you know, while you can see some clouds, I would say you're never going to see like a clear blue day, or rarely, just because there's so much ocean around, releasing so much water vapor into the air. It's warm ocean that there's either, which basically either is flying through clouds or kind of around clouds. Anyway, so this is kind of the west end is basically, you know, uninhabited. I mean, there's a road that will take you from kind of to that west end, but you're really going to want to be one of those people who's like, well, I'm going to go to an island and then I want to be kind of where the people aren't, you know, not where people are. All right. So now I'm adjusting. All right. So there's a kind of a fun thing about this plane. If you look at that little this thing that says port STB, that's port starboard there, and that says RPM. Oops. Yeah, it's a little slow. So you want to adjust the RPM so it's kind of at the top of that green range. There we go. Because that is the most efficient. Yeah, I had it too slow. You want it right where it is. Just those little arrows there. They're basically pointing to the most efficient realm in terms of speed of the propeller. Now from there, I can reduce the throttle as long as the RPM doesn't change significantly. And then I also want to adjust the mixture, which I've got in my other hand here. So you can see there's a mixture control. There's that red thing down there. You want to reduce the mixture until also the point where RPM starts to go down, because that's the engine operating at its most efficient. And yeah, it's a manual procedure. It's going to be different on different days at different altitudes with different cargo loads. So, and you know, they could have an automated system, and many planes do, but also many of them you're operating the throttle and the mixture controls, or the propeller and the mixture controls manually. Just that's and I like that. There's even an autopilot, a full-on autopilot. But it's right there, but I never run it. Where are we doing? A little more maybe. Okay, that's nice and efficient. All right, so now we have an efficient realm. Looking down again, it looks like, again, we started kind of at the end of this thing, but it makes a big curve to the left there, and I'm saying a big one. We're barely started here, but it's nice, and we're already in an area where people are building houses. They're a little away from the beach, you know. They're not right on the beach. I think for practical living reasons, it's probably good to not necessarily be right on the beach. You're real close to the beach, you know. Like that little path there. But I think, yeah, some of these buildings haven't been improved. Let's see what it says here. Yeah, the small, well, yeah, as I said, there's a million large planes or huge planes, but the only ones, like big planes I do, are either vintage planes or like these giant, flying boat style planes. Those are kind of wild. I mean, it has to be kind of weird. I definitely have gone through a stage where I was flying the 737, you know, and the Airbuses, just to get a feel for what it's like, and it is pretty kind of fun. I don't find it that exciting. I mean, these planes are not designed for sightseeing. They're designed for getting to altitude, flying at a very efficient altitude to wherever you want to go. Okay, we're about to get on to the kind of the populated, where all the resorts and the fishing boats and the touristy boats are. Yeah, but the small planes, you really feel like, oh well, that's really probably what it's like to fly that plane. And I mean, jets are cool, but they're so automated and hands-off in many ways. The thing about jets that are kind of most complicated thing to me, and flying in general, is operating the radio, which they don't really do. Okay, what does this say here? It says something something rock. All right. This is a town here. It's on the island of Grand Bahama. What does it say there? It says 8 Mile Rock. I guess we're not too far from Detroit then. 8 Mile Rock. That's what it says. 8 Mile Rock. Yeah, I'm not kidding. 8 miles. I mean, I assume there's 8 miles from here out to the west end or something like that. There's some geographic measurement. Anyway, that's quite a few houses. It's got some, pools. But we're coming up on a place where, you're not that far from the air. You'll see that we're not that far from the airport. Well, actually, you're about like a 25-minute drive now, but you don't want to be right next to an airport. How do you turn off the flight planner screen? Like this one, the one I get it, this one, or do you mean this is? I use the tab, or you can also use this little X in the upper right. That's the flight planner screen. The flight planner, looks like this. This is the flight planner screen. That's what I think of it. And there's the aircraft. So I can either use the tab button on my thing, which is what I use to put it on. But there's an X too, if that's what you're. Yeah. There's a little X, and that works too if you can bring your mouse in there. You can't really see my mouse pointer. But yeah, it's good to get. It takes a while, but you eventually have to learn all the keyboard commands. And there's a bunch I don't know, like if you need to repair yourself because you damaged your plane, it's like Alt R. I don't know. Or if it's nighttime and you need to bring up your flashlight, it's Alt F. Probably, but I don't know for sure, or something like that. So I'm constantly bringing it. I actually will stop and bring up the controls page and do the search, and it's kind of a pain in the ass. But yeah, eventually you learn all the keyboard, and because not everything is mapped just to my controller. My controller is not quite standard. It's closer. It's a lot closer to the standard of 2020, and 2024 is different. All right, so there's this side, but you can see there's a power plant maybe there, and like storage of various petrochemicals, which you always need for an island because they don't appear naturally there, so they got to be shipped in. This is something yard. Lewis Yard. I like the little village names. All right, let's fly over the airport. We're not landing here. We got another like 20 minutes of flying to go before land, and there are some airports, fairly large airports further ahead. They're much smaller. This is the Grand Bahama International Airport. So if you're flying in from Miami or from the East Coast, from New York, I'm sure there's a lot of flights, you'll land here. I'm sure there's also people who like to land at the airport and be no more than a 10-minute, shuttle drive to where they're going. They don't want to be hassled with having to drive around city streets and stuff like that. So you probably see, I think there's a bunch of resorts kind of there, but I bet there's kind of a bunch of maybe not. We'll see. I think there's, once we do this, I'm kind of going to zigzag back down to the right, because I think that's where all that stuff is. But for example, I always like to point out, we were about to fly over a golf course. It's interesting. We're definitely seeing satellite, what I call satellite mapped onto onto terrain. But then you see this golf course, and it looks quite a little bit more detailed. You got palm trees and stuff like that. And it looks like that is going to be the country club area there. It's not like one of those golf courses where maybe they have some houses built onto the course, but it's pretty big. 18-holer there with the dog leg. In that a dog recently lost its leg there. Okay, so all right, so I was gonna fly over the airport. Did I miss it entirely? No, that's right here. Grand Bahama. All right, then we're gonna make a turn. It's sightseeing. All right, this is what it looks like from here. It's probably kind of annoying. Freeport. That's a really famous city name, right? Freeport, Bahamas. It's like the original place. I just want to see what some of the airport buildings, there's Freeport there. So at least this time we're getting points of interest, which is fine. Usually those things disappear. And they did just yesterday. But the other thing is I don't know how well it runs on the PS5. It's probably pretty okay, but having a high-end PC is definitely the way to go. We are getting very smooth frame rates today. We're not giving it a huge challenge. This is not like downtown Paris. Okay, so you can see that there's a terminal there, and I think there's also a terminal maybe there. Actually, I don't know where the jets are going to land. You'd think there'd be maybe there. But this is definitely long enough to land nice. It says Grand Bahama International. So yeah, I'm sure there'd be a lot of 737s that are normally on the ground. And that's probably the bigger plane they have. All right, but now we're going to zig. So this is what the airport looks like. Yeah, there's nothing really there on that side. So if you're going to come in from the airport, you're going to cross to the south here, to the other side. flying in tropic air. We're giving everyone a nice view of the island here, and charging you very little. I'm checking to make sure engines still look good. We got plenty of fuel. We got 42%, which is more than enough. Oh yeah, there's a castle. We're gonna fly over it. And in fact, we may even use our magical parachutes to descend into the castle and examine its grounds. It took me a while. Like, I probably was playing this game for like a year before I realized if you hit the pause button, it'll pause the simulation, but your plane, you can still hear it. Your plane's still kind of, there's still some vibration and stuff. And other planes in the simulation are still moving. You know, the simulation is still going. Your plane is just paused and frozen in the air. It's kind of a weird thought, actually. It's not actually stopping time because, you know, it's not, and because the rest of the game is still going, which is cool. So I wasn't sure how that even worked, but it works. But then you can, you know, also figuring out kind of all the camera controls, which is important because I like to, you know, do a lot of camera related stuff. Although I've seen some stuff from people who stream Flight Simulator who have better camera control than I do, and have, you know, I think they have more interesting views, and I'm not sure why that is, but I don't know. All right, so this is called Cooper's Castle. It looks moderately new, and this is Williamstown, not Williamston. It's got a bright blue roof to it. And it says Cooper's Castle. All right, I went Village. We'll just take a quick look before we check out. I don't know if this has been redone recently, but it's quite detailed. Is a blue roof like, not copper, because it'd be green. It's okay. I would call it more of a manor than a castle, but I mean, or sort of a modern, or some, not a, you know, it's like a 19th century castle. And we got some cars here. I'll take one of those. These are sweet looking. That's a Maserati, I think, right? Are they the same? So we put some nice cars here. Oh yeah. Oh wait, sorry. There's a gold cupola or pergola or cupola, or whatever, and it's got these cool. I've never been here before because I would remember this, and that's a great texture. So it's just a beautiful park-like setting, I guess. I'm not sure. Maybe they have weddings there, kind of thing. It seems like it would be perfect for that. That's probably what they do. They rent themselves out for weddings. All right, that's Cooper's Castle in Williamstown, Grand Bahama. Right there, and the grounds, which looks like a lovely, you know, kind of park. Okay. And then we have a marina here, one of these places where, you know, you can rent the place you're living at has a boat slip in the back that you just pile into your boat, or vice versa. So here's your, yeah, that's interesting. I wonder if they're like see, some of these look like apartments that have boat slips in the back more than houses. It's pretty though. So, but the other thing I'm looking for is along the beach a long line of resorts, which is coming up. In fact, the first ones are like there, but there's a lot. Okay, we're gonna fly over another very nice looking 18-hole golf course there. Of course, they have like professional golf tournaments, I think, out in some of these places. You know, they're popular. But you got a nice long strip of beach here. Several. You got like a lagoon there. These don't look great, but I'm sure these are in the real world are very fancy, lovely, and kind of fairly modern resorts. You can kind of see what they look like if they had the real, you know, decent landscaping. And that one's kind of interesting in how it's all these little kind of buildings that are kind of staggered. And we're still seeing a lot of this. You have the part of it faces the ocean. Part of it has a kind of an inland water, which is always going to be very calm compared to occasions when there's a hurricane. You know, you do get hurricanes here. It's definitely that thing. When you do, you don't want to be anywhere near the ocean, near the actual ocean. But in general, they're scary storms. You can see a storm comes across these little islands. It's not going to hit anything. Oh yeah, sorry, I'm reading your thing now. Thank you. I'm reading your thing. Yeah, it's a little delayed to read chat, but you know, that's fine. We'll finish doing the Bahamas if you want. I'll tell you about the local airport. No, tell me, what is your local airport named? I think we have time. We can at least take off from there. I think you said it earlier, right? You said, you gave me the code, right? Well, you said approach to Rotterdam. Well, your local airport is FIFE, right? FIFE? Yeah, FIFE. It's not Fife, it's FIFE. Okay. I'm gonna land at this airport, which is just a few minutes here. We'll do a takeoff from FIFE, from Fife. That's in Europe, I believe. All right, what was it called here? Something Lang Town, L-A-I-N-G Town. Okay. I'm just looking at all the town names, but yeah. So on this side of the island, I think even there, for whatever reason, the other side of the island doesn't get as much population. It's just about 10 miles away. We're pretty fast. It's very, very fast. It's in Scotland. Oh, Scotland. Oh, so it is Fife. Sorry, it's not the airport code. I'll find it. Yeah, we'll be there in 5 minutes. But I do want to land. Also, this is really fun terrain. But as you see, right ahead from us is an airport. There's actually a bunch of airports, but it's this MYGM, and we're about 10 miles away. So that's, yeah, we'll do a little just like at this speed, we're doing about 115 knots, which is really about the speed this plane goes in the real world. So it's about 6 minutes, and then we'll just immediately check out Fife. The city of Fife, or that? I'll forget. I'm pretty sure I've taken off there before. So this is more than a big enough airport, but it's not an international airport. It's a smaller kind of regional airport. So they've got like little kind of see how these that inlet goes all the way down there. So people way, way, way down there can have their boats and just take them out to the ocean through that port there. And also you get some beautiful kind of, I love how they turquoise the ocean here, and you can see coral, underwater coral, and little sandbar islands out here. It is very detailed, and they do a good job. Looks like we have a cargo ship out in the middle of nowhere. But yeah, you got miles and miles and miles of beach, and if you're willing to, if you have some way of getting out here, you'll be all by yourself. And by some way of getting out there, like a small boat, you might easily be able to kind of, you might be able to get onto the beach, small little sailboat or something, or close enough. But you don't even need to do that, because resorts have beaches not too far, that you can access that are probably pretty easy to get to. All right, we're almost at the end of our cargo run here. I'm going to lose a little fuel. We were a little heavy for landing for fuel. I was thinking, I never do this until the last minute. But it's easy to do. One thing you'll notice is if you want to do a realistic landing, you got to remember that planes are designed to land with a certain amount of fuel. It's quite heavy. So you load in the amount that you think you're going to use plus some extra. Okay, that's loaded in. And then when it's time to land, you're not overweight. You're not over a weight limit that planes are designed to land at. So planes are certainly not designed to land with full loads. So we got there's actually two cargo ships here. You got one LNG tanker and another. I don't know what that GA ship is for. It's a specialty ship of some kind. But they're kind of cool. I don't know. They wouldn't be there in real life. But as I mentioned, at least they're not like smashed into some buildings or something. So now we're back in an area where, again, Grand Bahamas Island is large, and it is by far mostly uninhabited. It seems like it's probably as large or larger than some of the Hawaiian Islands. All right, we're about 8 miles away from our landing. Looks like we're probably just gonna like fly straight into this runway here, right? Yeah, perfect. I'm checking my my navs, but we're pretty good. So yeah, so flaps are needed for landing. Of course, it's not like I forgot to put the gear up. The gear is fixed. And the other thing is to kind of adjusting. You want to make some adjustments to your. You want to kind of adjust your mixture to be a little rich for landing. Whatever. Let's see. All right, we're 4 miles out. We'll be there in a short minute. Everything is working pretty well on the plane. Engines are performing very nicely, and we're at a good amount of remaining fuel, where we'd be plenty light. Actually, probably we'd have a little bit more. Yellow is fine, but you probably want it just in the green for the your fuel load for landing. And then we'll do a quick takeoff in 5. Again, I don't have time to like fly around, so we'll check out the airport area that we'll probably land. Maybe in the same plane. That makes it easy and quick. There's my Tropic Air Kench 9er plane there. And of course, now we've acquired visually acquired the runway at this point. I'm going to reduce power a little bit, but not by much. You really don't make a lot of adjustments to power. You just sort of set it on the runway. I mean, or at least during the approach. I've flown these planes enough that I feel quite confident in the abilities under normal flying conditions. Again, we do want to slow down a bit here as we approach. Oh yeah, put the flaps down at this point. Once we've basically had final here. Okay, we're still 2 miles away. Again, you don't want to put the flaps down too early, or you'll end up taking too long to get to the place you want to go to. So yeah, there's another area here. There's this airport here, which is not like for big planes. That's another Freetown, I think, right? It's a different Freetown. There's multiple Freetowns. Anyway, it was known, the Bahamas were known as a place where, if you were a slave and you were an American slave, and you were able to get there, you were free. And they're still proud of that. Well, they should be. All right, here we are approaching, a little bit less throttle. We're kind of high up here. So there was a bunch of Freetowns. All right, trays and tables. Or a cargo ship. Don't worry, there's no trays and tables. All right, less power. Reduce an engine. Propeller. There's a little airport out there. A bit of a bump, but really not much there. Turn. All right, that's okay. There's nothing to see here. I'm gonna stop and we'll check it out. Actually, that's a decent landing. I always like to try not to wake the baby. But again, it's all about watching your airspeed and making sure you kind of know how the plane's kind of how it's going to flare out. All right, I want to see this. We're going to end flight. So I should be able to maybe just do a search. Let's just see. Hold on, it's got to get to its position here. And let's see what we get. Oh yes, there is a 5-5. So there's an airport. It's EGPJ. Let's see, if we go there, it's going to zip us around the world here. Oh my gosh, look at that. Wow. That's quite a zip around the world. Let's see. Hopefully, the simulation can handle this change of scenery. But we'll see. I expect it to take a little while. All right, so it's a very different weather and time of day realm here. Cloudy and raining. Cloudy and raining. We're not going to see much in the current weather. I don't know how accurate this is, but I'm going to change the weather. It's not hard, and since this is we may not come back here again. And all you got to do is go here. It's something else I learned. Click on the weather, turn off live weather, and click on something realistic like scattered clouds. So it's still realistic, or you can have clear skies if you want. But I always do that. All right. So again. You put these up here, adjust your throttle to full, wait for power to come up. Don't really need flaps, so I'm not putting them down. I don't think they automatically come down, right? Yeah, but as soon as we get to this point in our thing, there we go. So we have all sorts of little points of interest here, and then we can start reducing from takeoff power to climb power. All sorts of little things to see here. Okay, so that's the airport we took off from, Scotland. Beautiful. It looks very good. It is accurate. Cool. I'm guessing it is because I've flown around my home area here in Pleasant, California all the time. And I'm like, yeah, that's what it looks like. But California has been done a few times. So I don't want to say any of the names that I'm saying here because I'm sure they'll be wrong. But at least we're seeing them. Maybe they did fix it for the simulation. There's a lot of stuff in the area. I kind of want to look... it is really a beautiful area. Wow. I mean, it's got these fields and forests. And you got your wind turbines. Now, it's a very different time of the day there. It's basically sunset there. We'll leave it to be the time of day, but it's kind of raining there. All right, so if I bring up my map, this will kind of tell me a little bit more about where I am. Okay, got it, yes. So most of the stuff, I think, is further kind of to the northeast. Or if you cross over to the south, right? If you cross over the sound there, here. But in terms of, like, where stuff is, like, there's the bigger airport here, and that's, I don't know, that's an air base. Yeah, okay. That usually means there's going to be a town there. And there's definitely points of interest. There's power here. Where am I? I don't know. We got lots of points of interest, but I don't know everything. Okay, so we're flying over where we took off from. Back the way is Glen Roth. Glen Rothes? That's a great scotch. That's an excellent single malt. What a coincidence. You gotta send me a bottle. There is a distillery there. Okay, we got a golf course. Who knew Scotland would have golf courses? They act like they invented the thing. What is that? What kind of crazy talk is that? We all know it was invented by the Japanese. This area looks a little familiar. Not really, though, honestly. All right, I want to find where... Hold on a second here. I actually want to fly over Glen Ross if it's not that far from here. But to do that successfully, give me a second here. Do a little... town in Scotland. Yes, where is it exactly? Yeah, there's... I see the thing. Where is it on the map? Oh, yeah, okay. It's not far from here. But I think... Okay, where is it going to be? So this is going to be Kirkcaldy. Glen Ross is going to be about here. So to get there, I think we're going to turn right. I'm not sure it'll be in game. Oh, I'm there right now. This is Glen Ross. Okay. So, so it is right next to the airport. It's in the air, but I think I just want to see if there's a because I see Kilkelly down there, which I see on my map, or Kilcaldy, right? Glen Ross is just north of that. Yeah, so this would be that would be right there. That's Glen Ross right there. That's it. Yeah. It doesn't seem to. Oh no, it is. There's a marker right behind us. I missed the marker though. But yeah. Okay, we'll fly around again. And then I'm just gonna land because we got a lot of streaming to do. I still want to do my musical segment. I did want to do the big brain games, so we're gonna land at Fife. But yeah, Fife is right now. I didn't really see, but that right there says Glen Ross. So if you type Glen Ross into your browser, it'll tell you all about the 15-year-old Speyside single malt. And it's expensive. Like the cheapest is the 12-year. I'm getting is $75. This is not, a 15-year-old is the $100, one bottle. I mean, that's the good stuff. But I don't know. Okay, there's a school there. See the track and field. I don't know where the distillery or whether it's even really in the actual town. But yeah, that's a very familiar name because I'm sure I've had it at some point. I've always said if I'm going to go to Scotland, I'm going to go on distillery tours and get blasted. But that looks like it looks like that's kind of downtown there. There's some kind of, I don't know, civic area, shopping mall, and some kind of building, long building. So plenty of parking right there. There's another open field over there. It is really beautiful. But I'm sure you could drive around and visit multiple distilleries in the same way when you can go to Napa in California, and there's 30 or 40 wineries in the area. You could do a little tasting in each one and kind of get pretty blotto just having a little sip at each of these places. Okay, this is Markinch. Looks a little bit like a nice little town there. All right. I'm sure I'm brutally mispronouncing all these names. Well, you know, Scotland, it sure is loaded with them. But again, you have to be able to understand that even if it looks kind of easy to pronounce for us, it probably is not pronounced the same way. Because Scotland's that kind of place. And then when you go to Wales, forget about it. You won't be able to pronounce anything. Your best chance of pronouncing things, I think, are in England. But even them, you think so? Oh, I appreciate that, but I'm okay. I'm not trying any of the more challenging ones. Yeah, I guess it's not as hard. Scotland's not as hard as Wales, where there's a lot of silent consonants. But Ireland can be hard too, because it's because of the accent. All right, we're gonna land over here at the airstrip, because I do want to think, but it's fun to check out these. It's kind of, we got long shadows here, about sunset. We got farm. We got what you call like a plantation with those farm buildings in the center there. And let's see, couple little towns here. Well, that looks like Windygates. Windygates, okay. That seems like a pretty pronounceable thing right there. But I'm probably, who knows? Okay. There's another little airport here. We'll just land there. Again, so before landing, I like to prepare for landing by not landing too heavy. Because it's actually, it's a very, how I had a nice landing there, and it's all like, first of all, can I see where this airport is? It's right here, right? Is it just a grass strip? I don't care. All right, so I was gonna say I'm gonna dump most of the fuel. Successfully dumped the fuel. I think this is just a grass landing strip here. Yeah, it says airstrip. Huh, let's check it out. But the issue is I'm not exactly sure what orientation it is. But we can land on a super tiny airstrip. I'm trying to figure it out. I guess it's kind of not that way. Why up this little area here? And then I think we're going to turn right. I'd have to fly over it first. And it definitely shows... Yeah, let's fly over it first. It definitely shows a some way of landing very small planes. And down here we have kind of covered farming, where it's hothouse farming, or what we call it, or hydroponic, or I don't know what you call it. I just want to see what the orientation is, if at all. There's got to be some flat land here, but I don't know where it is. There's a little building here, but I think that's not right next to where the airstrip is. So I'm trying to figure that out. I think it's over there. Well, okay, so it says airstrip. I mean, and there's some planes down there, just sitting down there. Where are you supposed to land? All right, we're on there. I mean, it's not going to be pretty, but I don't care. Again, the big brain games are beckoning in a sense. Very interesting terrain. And it looks like it's all been kind of graded. Just gotta figure out where the flat area is. can see there's like little plains down here on this little field. But it's not a very flat looking field. But, you know, it's not flat at all. But you know what? Here we are. Not that hard plane to land. Oh, I did a fuel cutoff there. That's fine. Best landing you're see all day. All right, let's do the big brain games. I don't think you could take off. Yeah, there's nothing. This is very unusual. Usually where there's an airfield, there's something where there's a noticeable flat area, kind of like, you know, out for you. But this is this is on just a hill. I don't know exactly what's going on. Probably nobody in the history of Flight Simulator has ever landed there before. All right, well, there we go. But that was fun, I think. And again, as to any of my viewers, thank you for suggesting that. And also, I always really enjoy flying over a town that I've heard of because of the scotch, because it's, you know, Scotland. And I've drank that scotch, and there's quite a few of them. But Glenrothes has a very good it has a good reputation. I've had it. And it's high end. It's high end stuff. So I don't have it all the time, but I haven't had it a few times. Okay, switching over to the big brain games. That means the just chatting category. If you've seen the thing before, any of the streams before in recent history, you'll know what's coming up in a second. Bring up my browser. Switch over to oops. Okay, switch over to the first game before I maximize this window. Okay, we're in just chatting. I'm going to warm up with an extreme version of the Quirtle, which is a lot like the Wordle, except that you have to solve 4 or 5 letter words at the same time. I already did today's Wordle, got it in 5. I thought today's word was a little hard, oops, for the Wordle, but that's just me. All right, so now we have, okay, this could be berry, B-E-R-R-Y on the upper right. And then we have another word that could be brave, say, or break. I'm going to leave that because I think it started probably B-R-A, not R-A-B-E. I don't think the right word's like that. This one here could be sumac, which is actually a word that's in the dictionary. I want to try it. Lower left. It seems like that was the hardest one, but for me, that's the easiest one. All right, so now we have a word that's probably something R-O-O-P, but it can't be troop because there's no T. What could it be? It can't be grope because there's no E. It could be droop, D-R. Follow my logic here. Could be droop. And it was. All right, and that helped a lot here. So it wasn't berry. It was derby. I'm glad I didn't try. Oh, I wonder if it's berry. It's derby because there's an R and a B in it. So that's easy enough. All right, we're down to the last word, but we still haven't used the V or the K. So it's either, I think, brave or break. Let's try brave. See, it wasn't. But we have an extra guess. I'm pretty sure it can only be break, right? Is there something else it could be? I'm pretty sure we're good there. Yeah, all right, that's a win. Number 1 game is a win. We got to move on. We got a bunch of games. The next game is going to be the Revealed. So the Revealed is from Britannica.com. Every day they give us a new one of these. Today's July 1st, 2026. Is a person. The person's name starts with 3 letters and ends in, and their last name is 5 letters. Okay, let's read the heavily redacted document and see if we can figure out who this person is. You're more than welcome to type in guesses if you think you know the answer. Why not? Okay, so the person we're looking for, born May 24th, some year, blank, in the U.S., is an American. We figured that out. Blank and blank, who moved from blank to blank blank in the blank, infusing the blank of blank and blank, theretofore concerned mostly with blank romantic innuendo, with the blank of classic blank and blank, hailed as the blank of his generation. Blank sold tens of blank, wrote more than blank, blank, blank by more than 2,000 blank, blank all over the world, and set the standard for blank writing. I don't know. I mean, Tom Jones? I don't think so. No, it wasn't Tom Jones. All right. American what? But I see 3 letters and 5 letters. That's all I'm saying. Is an American blank and blank. What? Revealed what? It was a songwriter. Okay. But I think it was an older one. Huh. And it's not named Tom. Jim something. Is it Jim? What's his name? From the Doors? No, that's a different one. But is it Jim something? No, it's not Jim something. So it's definitely a songwriter. A U.S. songwriter who moved blank, blank, infusing blank. This person sold tens of millions of albums, wrote more than blank, blank by more than. All right. Anybody have any suggestions? Let me know. Let me think about it for a little bit longer. Maybe we'll do some more reveals because it's not coming to me right now. But you never know. Singer. I'm going to say singer and songwriter, but so I don't want that one. Who moved from blank the new. What's this one? Classic literature. Interesting. So, music that has roots in classic literature. All right, now at least we can look at a letter. Let's see what the letter is. So it's not Tom. It wasn't the other one I thought it might be. Is it Joe something? I don't know. It's not Jonas, but I just wanted to see if it's Joe something. No, it's not Joe. We know it's an O. And it's not Tom or Joe. This is a cute one. I might have to give this one up because I don't have all day. You know what I'm saying? We just use all the reveals and see what happens. But these aren't going to help. None of these are really going to tell us, I think, more than we already know. Nope. So they stand for what? Lyric writing. So it wasn't necessarily the songwriter. It's not my old friend, Leonard Cohen. Yeah, I'm giving up. I don't care. I don't really care. Who was it? Bob Dylan. Maybe eventually I would have come with that. But one thing you should know is I'm not a Bob Dylan fan. Nothing else would have helped. But none of these would have helped. So I that's why I'm like, yeah, we'll move through it. Not going to get them all. That's why I like these games. I think that was a hard one. Sometimes I get them right away. Actually, let's do the trivia quiz now, and then we'll do the reunion. All right, so let's do the time trivia quiz, blah, blah, blah. 16 more places. Checkers, I think. Just guess, though. Former president's birthday. I would assume Jimmy Carter's from Georgia. Keep it 100. Audio volume? Honesty. What does 100 have to do with honesty? I've never heard that in my life. Which ancient leader? It was Caesar? These are hard. Sent a traveling sauna across America. Only Finland would that have made any kind of sense with. Due to famously electricity, there's meteorology to map the Gulf Stream. Modified forelegs called no centipede. Yeah, it was process of elimination there. Middle of a grand says slightly left of center on a grand piano. The middle C is it's slightly left. I think I should get that one. Back of which is dedicated to medical innovations and features a bottle of insulin. Jeez. I feel like I was lucky today to have crossed it, but I'm not going to end up with my 2,000 points, which is what I consider a minimum to call it a win. That's okay. We get yeah, we're not that almost. That was almost a win, but not quite. Better luck next time. You got to get them all right, or have them faster. See, I did not get that 11. I can get up to 1,100 points time bonus. Got to get them all instantaneously and correct. All right, the reunion. This is a game I really enjoy playing. This is the relatively easy version, but it's still kind of challenging. We got to figure out how to, in the minimum number of moves you lit around to form all these words. We got, very few clues. Very few clues, if any clues. I wonder if there's any words I can figure out. Also, I'm looking at there's a bunch of K's in this that we have to put somewhere. I'm wondering where those K's are going to end up. I almost feel like there has to be a K at the bottom of some words here, like down here. I'm just going to try this. Okay, that wasn't helpful. What could come before an H, right? That's a limited times before an H. Because F, no. Vowels, usually not. T, in this case, no. We know it's not a T. Could be an F, but no. S, possibly. In fact, I think it's probably an S. Because it can't be a T, and what else could it be? Or a C, and I don't think we have a C available. So I think it's going to be that, which is good. At least we made some progress here. So, oof. I wonder if this word's going to end up being like shark, and then, maybe not anything here. In which case, if there were a K here, what could that be worth? Then there's no letters that the words this could be, though. So I don't think a K can go here. And where can the C go? Could the C go there? Not really. No, the C can't go there, and the C can't go there. The limit number of places the C can go. I wonder if the top word might be basic. Do we have another A? We do. I'm going to guess that it's basic, but I'm not going to use this I. I'm going to use this I and this A. And now we should be able to figure out what this is. Also, this I isn't going to go there, C-O-I-O, so the I that has to go probably here. In which case, this word is going to be, I don't know, but the I has to go here, right? And then this word has to be, what could it be? Let's see. Could be an F, Cogorn. What's this word? C-O-G or C-O-K-O something? No. C-O-L-O. but then it's not Cologne, C-O-L-O-G-N-E, which makes a lot of sense. Okay, I figured it out. And that also means this word can actually be what could that word be? Oh, I get. Could this word? No, because this word can't be ing. Ing is not a word. That might be a tricky word. We should be able to figure out now. We have sh blank ri, and it's either an e or an a. So it's. We still have those f's, right? So it's sheriff, right? We still have a bunch of f's to place. And I wonder whether this word's going to be faux. Because I don't think of any other word we could have here. And then this word, this A can't go there, right? So it's got to go somewhere else. Yeah, I think this is going to be baskets, right? And then this is going to be shell. And then... and then where the heck is this K going to go? I guess the K has to go there? So that's ecking? What does the ecking mean? It's not eking. I guess it is ecking out a living, right? All right, 16. Guess what 16 is? Is a win. 17 is my average. So anything under 17 is considered a win. Actually, 17 I consider a win. That's hard enough. 16 is a good win. 15 is a huge win. And the most I've ever gotten is 14. And that's, you know, you're getting a lot of lucky things. Anyway, see the thing here. We got basic. All of the, I got one move wrong, by the way. So if I could have gotten it in 15 if I'd gotten it on a perfect game. But this is a hard one to figure out. Cologne and sheriff are kind of tricky words in a way. And ecking, E-K-I-N-G, it's not eking, it's ecking. Like ecking out a living is different than eking out a living. They're different words. I think. But I'm not 100% sure. These are some tricky words. Basket's not, but... And I didn't really know where they were going to end up until kind of last minute. All right, next game is a loop. We got some more loop. We got some more streaming to do. That's for sure. Like another at least hour. All right. Let's see. Do I have any? All right. Let's do the loop. Okay. We got a jellyfish is the starting image. Let's just see what we got. We got a fish. I think a fish is going to go next to a jellyfish. We got a carrot. We have a stick of butter. We also have a gold bar, which seems to be very similar to a stick of butter to me. We have the numeral 6 is what I'm thinking, if that's what that is. Peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Okay. We have a heart. Okay, peanut butter and jelly sandwich would go to a jellyfish, right? Peanut jellyfish. Peanut jelly sandwich. Get it? What is this thing? Okay, we got these two symbols. But I don't know if they really go together. Okay, that's converting force into, I don't know, cylinder. That's a cylinder. And those are, I would call those washboard abs. And this is kind of a, that's kind of well, that's a butter churn. So that's going to go next to the butter. Let's see. Gold. We got 24 karat gold bar. And then we have this, which I don't know, and this, which I'm not sure about either. Upside down V or delta. Is that what that is? No, delta doesn't look like that, right? Maybe that goes with abs, though. Oh, and also 6 goes with a 6-pack. It's like these are the 6-pack. I think the 6 is going to next to the 6-pack. Where would the carrot go? Also, I think the goldfish is going to go next to the gold. So let's put those there because I kind of like these somehow. Let's try that there. This also, a heart beats like an engine does, sort of. I'm not sure. Maybe this, and then this. We're going to check and see how badly we did. Yeesh. not super great, but if with this information that we've gained, all the blue ones are in their final correct position. Those are always pretty good confident in. I'm surprised the gold is not next to the butter. They seem like a stick of gold and a butter stick, but they're not, because otherwise this would be blue. But these are all connected. Oh, which is important, because I know all these connections are correct. So we can't break these up. So I believe we just have to interchange them. So let's see, the gold bar goes with the caret, but how would it do that, right? Because yeah, these are all connected. All connected, right? So I can't break up any of these, right? Yeah, okay. So let's see if I do this. Okay. So that means this goes here, this goes here, goes here, this goes here. Sure, in the butter. Okay, let's try that. I think that's got to be right. Okay, that was a win. Again, there's a lot of kind of deduction there based on, I wasn't sure where everything was, but I had a lot of connections and I had enough so that all I needed was that one hint there. I'm not exactly sure why you have butter next to a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Peanut butter and peanut butter. Okay, peanut butter and jelly sandwich, jellyfish, fish, goldfish, gold bar. The gold bar and the caret, I'm not 100% sure. So I'm gonna look at that and what this thing is supposed to be. Caret and that. So let's just see here. Caret is a home phone caret. Got the unit for measuring purities, like 24 carat gold bar. Got it. So that's a caret. And that's a caret. That's the symbol is a caret. Got it. And then the 6 is where the caret is on the keyboard. Oh, and then, okay, we got the 6-pack, the heart and the abs and muscles, piston are both pumps, butter churn, piston, the butter, and the peanut butter. Okay, that was a good one, and we did pretty well on it. I think I did. All right, there's more to go. We got 2 more games to go. The next game is the connections, and then we're gonna do an octurtle, and that's gonna do it. Again, this will be my first. Because I messed up. I did not correctly get them yesterday. I wasn't streaming, so you didn't see it. But I'll tell you right now, didn't get them. Because they can be hard. All right, so let's read these out and see if we can suss out at least the easy group of 4. Okay. Chicago, Long Island, Nigeria, Cologne, Indianapolis are all places. Munich, Limerick, Singapore, Casablanca, Cuba, Dominican Republic, Champagne, Guinea-Bissau, China, Fargo, and Moscow. Well, I kind of want to take the movies out. Chicago, Casablanca, Fargo, and what would be the other movie? There was a movie called Indianapolis, right? Oh, no, there's a more famous movie called Munich. That's a Spielberg movie. And I don't see any of these others being some kind of famous movie name. So that's, I think, the easy one. Let's find out. Yeah, that's the best picture winners, in fact. Okay. And nominees. Indianapolis Grand Prix. I don't think anything else there. What else? A Long Island could be a drink. Like a Long Island iced tea. Singapore Sling. Moscow Mule. And Cuba Libre. I don't think it's champagne. I think it's the first names of a drink. So Long Island iced tea, of an alcoholic drink, Singapore Sling, Moscow Mule, and Cuba Libre. Sue me if I'm wrong. You can't sue me because I was right. Places in cocktail names. Okay, we're doing pretty good. Yesterday I got totally screwed. I got nothing. At least we're down to basically the last one. Okay, Nigeria, Indianapolis, Dominican Republic, Champagne. That's kind of a region. Guinea-Bissau, China, Cologne, and Limerick. China is both a place name, but it's also dishware. Cologne is a place name, but it's also a perfume. Champagne is a place name, but it's also an alcoholic drink. And limerick is a place name, but it's also a type of poetry or a type of rhyming scheme, and that's what I'm calling is the connection there. Things named after places. That was okay. So it's a thing. Okay, like China is named after a thing. All right, so that was a perfect game. Yesterday I got my ass kicked. But what is the connection? Guinea-Bissau, Nigeria, Indianapolis, and Dominican Republic. I'm wondering, is there some wordplay in here? Because I'm not sure what Guinea-Bissau, Nigeria. This is obviously the hard one. Excuse me. In order to win, we don't need to figure out what it is, but I'd like to give it a second to see if there's some kind of wordplay or something. Like, I mean, these are all very different, disparately located areas. I was going to say something they're named after a river, but I don't think Dominican Republic is named after a river. Dominican Republic is named after an order of monks or whatever. All right, I don't have all day. I did not. It's not perfect because I did not figure out what the fourth category is. We just know what it is together. Oh, it's starting with countries. Okay, so Dominica is in the beginning of Dominican Republic. Guinea is a different country than Guinea-Bissau. Starting with a country, India, okay, Indianapolis, and Niger in Nigeria, the country of Niger. So it's countries that have other countries or places that have other countries starting with. That was kind of tricky. I don't think I would have got that easily. Although now that I see it, of course, super easy. But that's called a perfect. Okay, final game of the Big Brain Games is me doing the octurl. It's going to go too fast for people to help out, usually. That's fine. All right, I'm going to do the hardest one, which is the rescue, because I find it a challenge. All right, let's see. What do we know right away? We got this word on the upper right is spelled out for us. So we're just going to grab it. Let's see what we got here. There's an A and a T, but there's also an L and an E. So it could be ALET, which almost implies it has to be valet. Right? I hope so. Yeah. Okay, that's good. The V wasn't used, but still. There's another one. I think it's going to be easy because there's an R and an O. So it has to be roast. Yeah. We got the easy ones down, but then there's going to be a bunch that we have basically no clues on. Here's another one. It's going to be GREAT. The lower left, only possible word it can be, and follow these rules here. The clues that we already have. Okay, now we have CO, and then we don't know anything. We have a bunch of vowels we haven't used yet. So, including the U and the I. COU. COI. CO something U. Could be comic. COMIC. Because the M and the I, they'll always going to guess it. All right, well, that's fine. All right, not good. All right, what do we have here? We know there's a G, but it's after the R and the O. So it's going to be, let's see. ROUG. What would that be word? I don't think that's right. ROOG. Could be wrong. I think it's going to be wrong. RONG. Come on. Well, we didn't get it today. We can only get one wrong. It could have been wrong, but apparently it's prong. The other thing it could have been, oh well. Yeah, well, we can't get it today, but that's, as I say, I don't get it every time. All right, this word is almost certainly with lemon because it has to be spelled out. At this point, we know it's lemon. Let me put it that way. Let's see. We'll get that one. We'll get another word, but we got two to get. We only got one guesses. This word here is going to be guppy, right? There, and then this word here is going to be. It's not comic, but it's C-O-N. C-O-N. It's not conch. Condo, I think, right? And this word's going to be guppy, but we don't have enough guesses. So we got condo, and note that it was guppy, so I knew the word, but it did not get enough guesses. That's not a win. But as always, the big brain games are a mixed bag, and I don't mind saying that again. If I won them, each one of them, every single time, I would have to find harder games. The loop we did really well at, really fine at. The reunion, very good, 16. Did not get the reveal today, and I probably could have if I was in the right space to figure that one out. So. Tightrope trivia, I crossed it, but I didn't get my 2,000 points. All right, I'm going to magically move us into the musical category for the about 45 minutes of musical playing, and let's get on with it. Let's see. Oops, musical category. Music. There we go. Let me in. There we go. I'm in the musical category. I want to run my mid-roll, and I'll see you on the other side of that. Alrighty, let me get my camera set up here. I like to see that. Kind of get this like diagonal here. Put that right there. Get that set up there. Actually, a little bit higher up so you can see a little more of the keys there. There we go. That's better. Perfection. All right. Let's do a little warm up. Adjust that camera out a little bit, I think. Give me a second to do that. Okay, I might just do a little quick adjustment of this camera. Let's see, where is it? Okay, so I need a little more headroom. So it should be up a little bit, right? A little more headroom and a little more. Let's see, it's facing that way. A little bit more this way. Give me a little more nose room. There we go. Perfect. All right, back to transition. Okay. Starting, what is Ken's Piano Lounge? It's, this list of songs here, blah, blah, blah. Starts with Say a Little, basically with Say a Little Prayer, Natalie Cole version. There's a bunch of versions of the song. Camera a little bit up. There we go. And then, yeah, that's right there. I don't know. That's about the same. All right. Next song, for example, would be, Joe Jackson, Breaking Us in Two. Welcome to Ken's Panel Lounge. Fix yourself a drink if you like. I got myself a Diet Coke right here. And be sure to tip the waitresses. You know, they have on average, what, 7 kids these days? A lot of mouths to feed. All right, let's just do this one here. Flash dance there. All right, let's do Incredible HiDef. song goes like this. Skip a little ahead to some Billy Joel here. It's really not that close to how the song goes, but that's fine. These are all a little modified. That's right. This way we're actually close. It's cold on these songs. It's almost done. Playing these songs so much, it's a little hard to concentrate enough to play them right. I'm working on it. All right. Misty. Oh, it's my favorite song of these songs.
Let's skip a few songs here. Run a little low, long. I always do this one though. All right, one last song here. Thanks so much for coming by to Ken's Piano Lounge. Running up against a 2-hour limit. Not a limit, but, just not a hard code or anything. It's basically after 2 hours. First thing, do want to get back to work. Got some emails to reply to. Plenty of time, though. It's still early. It's only like 1:30. So I got hours to do that kind of thing and just work from home. It won't be a problem to put my piano away. But I had such a great time doing the show today. I swear to God, it actually was a really fun show. I mean, I say this every time, though, so it doesn't really matter how much fun the show was. Oh yeah, I'm so glad we had this time together just to have a laugh or sing a song. Seems we just get started, and before you know it, comes the time we have to say so long. I'll see you Friday if you want to come by. Same regular time and all that stuff.